Hello and welcome back to the channel, Dan Talks United. So, it's the preview, Wolves versus Manchester United at Molyneux. So there's plenty to break down, tactics, predicted lineups, danger men, score predictions. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, please like and please share and hit that notification bell so you can see when the next videos are coming up. So let's get into it. This is a huge game, as I was saying, at the Molyneux. It's a huge game, and the reason being is because recent form is not being great. Winning against West Ham, end up drawing. That felt like a loss. We lost against Everton at home, 1-0, 10 men, as I've said before. So it's a big, big game, and I think it's a big game for Amorim, because as much as he's got the backing from Ineos, he surely can't lose this game against the whipping boys of the Premier League. As I've said in the previous video, there's pieces on this being the worst Premier League team potentially, and we can't be the team that gives Wolves its first win or even its first draw in many games. So it's got to be must score and must win against Wolves. It has to be. So just to look at the form of both teams, I'm just going to go over to FootMob and just have a look at the form guide for the last 5 games anyway. So for ourselves, we had that 2-2 draw with Forest. We had another 2-2 draw with Spurs. Then that dreaded 1-0 loss against the 10 men of Everton. We did somehow win 2-1 at Palace, Selhurst Park. It's been a while since we got a win there, or even probably a good performance there, to be honest. And then the 1-1 draw at home to West Ham. So moving on to Wolves then. So as I was saying, they have had 3-0 loss to Fulham, 3-0 loss to Chelsea, 2-0 loss to Palace, a 1-0 loss to Villa. Can you see all these losses? And then a 1-0 loss to Forest. Now, it doesn't seem to matter whether they're at home or away, they're just losing. And then to top this off as well, it's not just, I'm looking at the last 5 games. As far as I'm aware, they have lost 7 games in a row. 7 games in a row. However, do not put it past Manchester United to change that for them. Now, surely not, but who knows, with the way that we've been playing, anything is possible, unfortunately. So just to sort of mention the press conference with Amorim, don't know if you guys watched it at all, but he was defiant. He was up for the fight. He was not impressed, not happy. Dare I say, a bit rattled. Very difficult being a Manchester United coach, unless you're Alex Ferguson. Because the press, they're at you. Any mistakes, any poor form, even when things are going good, there's something to say. It's a big club, massive entity. Not so sure that Amorim knew what he was getting himself into. I don't think anybody does until they're there, to be honest. But it's a massive juggernaut. People talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid, but Manchester United, whether they're as shit as we've been, or whether we're at top of the world, it's a massive entity and a lot of pressure, and it was telling in that press conference. I think things are getting to him. So there was a lot of questions around Kobe Mainoo and whether he's going to play him and whether he's thinking about his confidence. The whole fact that there's a World Cup coming up and he'll want to get into the England squad, I don't think there's much chance of that, to be honest with you. But Amorim was basically saying not his problem. He plays the best 11 that's available to him, and Kobe is rivaling Bruno for a spot. It's not sounding like he can get into the team unless Bruno is not picked. So that's debatable whether that's true or false. I think against West Ham, Agattis come on instead of him. I don't know how true that is. I don't know whether there is a issue now between them. I mean, obviously we're not there day in day out. We're not there in the training ground, but I do know that Kobe, young player, he was one of our stars under Ten Hag. As I've said before, as we know, he stepped up in finals and what have you. He was a golden boy for a stage, for a period. He was getting into the England squad. He played in competition for England and was in the final, you name it. So he was just rising. That's all that was happening. He was just rising for both club and country. And Amorim's come in and he can't get a sniff. He can't get a kick of the ball. I'd be surprised if he even gets picked in training the way this is looking. So in terms of a bit of team news then, not much given away from Amorim as normal. I think he mentioned that Maguire still a doubt. Still, I don't know what the injury is, to be honest. De Ligt, I think there was something mentioned that he could make it against Wolves. Not sure why he was out for the West Ham game. I think he was missed in that West Ham game. You can always do that shoulda, coulda, woulda type stuff and say if he was marshalling that back line, perhaps West Ham don't get that equaliser, but it's all what ifs and maybes. We don't know. So in terms of anybody else out, not aware that anybody else is out. Obviously Martinez is coming back from injury and being bled into the squad slowly. You can never tell actually because there's rumours that Dalot was signalling to the bench to come off, but I don't know how true that is. I suppose if he was injured, he didn't go down the tunnel, so that's always a good sign generally. And you just don't know if Luke Shaw can pick up a knock at any point, but not heard anything, so I'm just going to assume it's just Maguire, generally speaking, that's out. And obviously Sesko is still on the sideline, but I'm not sure when he's back. I think it's another couple of games or so before Sesko's back. No suspensions that I'm aware of, although Casemiro was trying his best, whether he's doing it on purpose, so it's just Casemiro. Was doing his good impression of getting booked, but I don't think he got a card, which is strange for Casemiro, but I think he's one booking from a suspension. So perhaps he was trying to get that done and out of the way nice and early before AFCON and we start to lose other players. So, not sure if there's anybody absent from Wolves, but it shouldn't matter, so I'm not even going to go into that and don't really watch them or listen to much news around Wolves. So in terms of the approaches then for both teams, as to be expected, I don't think there's going to be a shift on the formation for Manchester United. It's going to be 3-4-3. I expect, depending on how Wolves set up, I would imagine Wolves will be sitting back in a low block. So will we need to press per se? Probably not very much, but I still expect to press them. If they're coming at us, I'd expect to want to still win the ball and counter attack. I would, if I wanted to guess, I would imagine that we will have the lion's share of possession, or that's what should happen. So it's going to be down to ourselves then to break a low block down, and we don't do that very well. So I would say that this is going to be another match where long throws from Dalot is going to be key, corners, free kicks, so the whole set piece setup's going to be coming into play in this one, and that's probably going to be the decider, as it has been for last few games. Like I say, or like I've said before, it gets to a point where you just want to win, but at the same time, you want to win well, and there should be no excuse not to win well against Wolves. So, key battles then, if there's going to be any key battle. Bruno, I would suspect, is going to be in midfield alongside Casemiro. And if that does happen, it's going to be the battle of the Brazilians, because you're going to have Casemiro versus João Gomes, who's been linked to us actually, loosely maybe, linked to us for a transfer potentially. And Andre. So the three Brazilians battling it out there in midfield. So, in terms of how I feel that Wolves will set up, as I was saying earlier, I would imagine you're going to have that sort of mid to low block. I can't imagine they're going to come out of the blocks, up for the fight, full of forward play and what have you. I would imagine after you've lost 5 games, or is it 7, did I say 7 games in a row, that you're gonna sort of sit back and look out for your opportunities and look out for the gaps, and try and capitalise that way. And again, they might be looking at the odd corner or free kick where they can capitalise. So that would be how I would imagine they're going to set up. And like I say, I can't see them coming at us, if I'm honest. So for predicted lineups then, I do not think there is any question that Le Mans is going to start in goals unless he's injured. Right wing back, not played particularly well in these last couple of games, and it feels like himself and Mbeumo have almost gone back to that early days where they didn't know each other. Because remember one of the plays against West Ham where Mbeumo's made a sort of a darting run into the box, and then Ahmad sort of played the pass behind him. And I thought, we've ironed this out, lads. What are you doing? You've talked in that recent interview where you've built up your connection off the field, you've built up your connection on the field, you sort of know what each other's going to do. When one comes inside, the other one goes outside, and vice versa. And that was just a typical sort of example of just that disconnect. Now, obviously, that can happen, I get it, but so long as that's not something that keeps happening, they need to build, or they need to continue the building that connection. So, centre-backs then. If De Ligt is fit and back, I would put him centre-back, because I do believe he was a big miss against West Ham. Right centre-back, I think I'd put Mazraoui there. Yeah, I think I put Mazraoui there. Yoro and Heaven, a bit iffy. Shaw, left centre-back. I think that's a given at the minute until Martinez is back up to speed. And then just to reward Dalot maybe with his goal, put Dalot at left wing-back. And obviously, Amorim is going to want his long throws, so he'll probably pip Dorgu to that spot. Midfield then, I said earlier, Bruno and then Casemiro against his Brazilian counterparts. Right 10, Mbeumo. Want to see a good game out of Mbeumo now. Xerxes, that sort of, well, striker position, but, you know, he's going to play that sort of false 9, if you want to call it that, 9.5. Cunha up against his old boys. Now, this can go one or two ways. You can often get that sort of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and how he played against us for West Ham, coming against his old squad, his old team, and stepping things up. Hopefully that's the sort of performance we get out of Cunha, where he thinks, right, up against my old squad, show them what they're missing. Let's see. We are well overdue some good performances from Cunha. I did think he was going to kick on after that first goal and really take things by the scruff of the neck, but he's not really been at it. He's not really been at the races for me. Now, obviously, he's been knocked out the loop with the whatever the concussion was in training, and he's been out a couple of games, but hopefully now he's had a bit of training under his belt, he's had a game that he can get sort of relatively up to speed now and get some goals out of him. So, in terms of players to watch for both sides, so for us, it's got to be the front end, it's got to be Mbeumo, although I don't feel his form's been great recently. And also for me, getting that performance out of Cunha. So Mbeumo with the goals, hopefully, and Cunha with the possession play, holding onto the ball, driving forward, making Wolves retreat. That's the sort of thing we need to see. Sort of capitalise on that and capitalise on their low confidence. For the opposition then, don't know too much about Wolves this season, as I was saying earlier, but I've heard a lot about Strand Larsen, and he may be the slight shining light for Wolves. And Wolf on the wing seems to be quite high energy, up and down. So definitely, we've always got to give respect to any team that we play anyway, especially us anyway. I mean, look at Grimsby. So that's who I'd say that we need to watch out for, but football's not played on paper, so let's see. So, the big one, score prediction. What's it going to be this time round? So, hard one again to predict, because when you're on a bit of a high after that win at Palace, and then you come crashing back down again when you're playing at home, you're thinking, yeah, we can spank West Ham, it's just West Ham, and then you end up drawing 1-1. Strangely, and I don't do this very often, I'm going to say we're going to keep a clean sheet. Now, this could be overconfidence, and guys, please let me know what you think. It's not just about what I'm saying. I want to see your comments. I want to see if you are Amorim in, Amorim out, Amorim doubt. Probably in that middle zone myself as Amorim doubt. No shame in any of it. Please let me know how you're feeling. But in regards to the score prediction, I want to see your score predictions, but I'm going to go with 2-0. Now, a lot of people might think that should be more than that. If it finished 2-0, you could almost say it's embarrassing because it's Wolves. But what we've been seeing, what we've been witnessing, guys, coming away with 2-0, I wouldn't say happy, but you're going to be satisfied with that, I suppose. So again, put your comments below and what you think the score's going to be. So, that just about wraps up the match preview. As I was saying, drop your score predictions below. Your comments are much welcomed. Want to see what the community is feeling. Do you think United's going to get the job done? Do you think United's going to get the job done well? Come on, Amorim, we need a good performance. We need to have something to get behind. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, very important to new channels such as this. Please also hit that bell notification so you know when the next video is coming up. And I'll be going live after the Wolves game, whether it's win, lose or draw. Hopefully a win, because we want a pleasant, happy stream. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.